Everybody, and welcome to Monday's edition of Big Blue Kickoff Live, presented by Cadillac, the official luxury vehicle of the Giants. I am John Schmeelk. He is Paul Dottino. The phone number is 201-939-4513. We're in the Hackensack Community Health Podcast Studio. Keep getting better. Paul, that was different.
Yes, it was.
We've seen some rough games for the Giants the last few years. The last one that was as crazy as that one is the, what was the final score? 52-45 score between the Saints and the Giants.
In the Dome.
What was that, 2013?
Oh, golly.
2014?
I don't remember the year.
2012? Giant fans know the game I'm talking about.
The Breeze Manning game, which was just
where you had
ridiculous.
fumbles on punts and recoveries and another fumble.
Ended with a face mask call against the Giants on a special teams play that allowed the Saints to kick the winning field goal from about 5 million miles away.
Well, and the Cowboys kicked the field goal from a million miles away to force that game into overtime. The Giants fall to the Cowboys 40-37. We could talk here probably, Paul, for a full hour and just talk about what happened in this game because there were so many things. But let's hit on the main topics, and then obviously you can call in and touch on some of the more granular stuff if you want. But I think the first thing you have to start on, Paul, and what was Tom Coughlin's thing? For every 70 yards of penalties, it's a touchdown? I don't think it was. I forget the exact number.
I forget the number, but I know the concept of what you're referring to. And I think the thing that bothers me, and I know what you're going to say.
Well, and by the way, 14 penalties, 160 yards, and I'll add this too. You had 3 offset on one play, all right? So, and then you had another 1 or 2 declined. So you probably had closer to 17 penalties for 200 yards based on what happened over the course of the game.
Yeah.
And when you're playing a good team on the road in their building, and those penalties even take as many as 4 points or 3 points off the board, that's how you turn a win into an overtime loss.
Well, that's why the Giants really need to be kicking themselves for not taking a much bigger, earlier lead in this game.
And you know, it's funny. I said that to Tiki after the game. If you want to, you can talk about plays at the end, and we will.
Oh.
But it should not have been 13-10 at halftime.
No.
100%.
The Giants should have had a big lead. This should never have gotten close in the fourth quarter. I just want to go to that first drive for just a minute. Okay? We all know what James Hudson did. 4 penalties totaling 40 yards. Plus, he gave up a 5-yard sack. One of the penalties also eliminated an 11-yard run. So, in reality, 5 difficult plays for him resulted in minus 56 yards. But I want to go further than that.
And by the way, 50 yards of total penalties on the drive, if you count the other penalties on the drive.
Yeah, but I'm going to go more than that.
Oh, yeah, you mean the 67-yard kickoff return that got taken off the board?
Impactful yardage lost. You get Bozeman with a hold on the kickoff return. You get Slayton with a hold on a 50-yarder to Robinson. In total.
No, the Slayton hold was on a 24-yard Tracy.
24 Tracy. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Yes, Tracy. I take that back.
Yeah, it was the unnecessary roughness on Hudson that took 15 yards away from a 50-yard pass to Robinson. I'm sorry, I didn't interrupt.
No, that's fine. That's fine. No, I'm glad we got it straight because I went through this morning and my head was spinning in 15,000 directions.
Well, there's a lot to talk about.
In total, the 6 penalties, in effect, never mind the penalty yardage, but in effect, including the yardage lost on the gains, resulted in minus 124 yards. 6 penalties resulting in minus 124. Well, the drive wound up going 60 yards in 16 plays.
I was joking with Tiki on the halftime show, and I had never seen before. And Paul, you know me, I'm a big adherent. I think it's very important to take a look at all the possessions after every game because as Eli Manning used to say, each drive is its own story.
Correct.
I've never seen a drive where a team gains 110 yards and they wind up with 3 points.
Yeah.
And that doesn't even count the 67-yard kickoff return that got called back.
And that's part of it.
And that they would have had a 1st and goal at the 1.5-yard line after that Wan'Dale Robinson 50-yard catch. The idiotic James Hudson unsportsmanlike penalty when he's slamming the Cowboys' defensive lineman's head into the ground after the play. Which, by the way, I had no problem with any of the calls on that drive either, by the way. I didn't think any of them were bad calls. So you just can't have... Look, the head slap, he was trying to push him, I think, past him. The guy trips. He ends up getting him in the head. I get it. It happens. But then you had the false start penalty. That unsportsmanlike thing is just, you can't have that at all. Period. Stop. So they did the right thing taking him out of the game. Marcus Ball, I thought, did a pretty darn good job in his place. I thought he did have some problem with some power on some rushes, which we've talked about with him. But I thought, I mean, my goodness, a rookie going in there playing his first ever game at left tackle, played a really good game, I thought. And look, then you have other little moments later in the game where you know, one of 5 in the red zone scoring touchdowns for the Giants again. 1 for 5. 1 for 5. You turn one of those into a touchdown, Cowboys can't get this game into overtime.
That's right.
This game's over. And again, this is, and by the way, we haven't gotten to the defense yet. Don't worry, we will. But these are these little moments over the course of a close game where you come up a little bit short, and that's the difference between going into overtime and winning in regulation.
Now, you know, the one thing that I was happy about, let me just get this out, because I think it's important that we do understand there was something that was good about this. For months we watched OTAs, minicamp, training camp. We watched all that stuff. And we kept saying, Russell Wilson's throwing the ball well. He looks really good. He's throwing the ball well. The receivers are making plays. The offensive line looks like they can hold up and be functional. Well, guess what? The Giants proved to you yesterday that we were not imagining things.
That was not a mirage, at least for this game. And now, look, the Cowboys' defensive front is not a world beater, but look.
Average at best defense.
Paul, they had 500 yards of total offense.
Correct. The receivers made plays, and by the way, on the pregame show, you remember me doing this, I kept asking for Malik Neighbors to make plays above the X's and the O's. He did it yesterday.
That was a great diving catch in the end zone. And
he
by the way,
was terrific.
We also talked about how compromised the Cowboys' secondary was, and how many times have we talked about that, and the Giants failed to take advantage of it? Well, they took advantage of it in this game.
Be a difference maker.
Yes.
He did it. Wan'Dale Robinson, we've been talking forever about his average yards per catch. He's got to be a difference maker. He's got to make more plays downfield. He did it.
He killed the seam in the middle of the field in this game. Killed it.
Okay, Russell Wilson threw the ball all over the field. Did really, really well. And for the most part, did the offensive line, were they functional? They were functional.
Oh, no, the offensive line played a pretty good game in pass protection.
So all three of these things that we told you we saw during the offseason came to fruition on Sunday. We saw it. So now you know we're not speaking gibberish here. This was not a mirage. This stuff is in them. They've got the tools, the skills, the toolbox, the ability to do what they did yesterday. The problem is all the other junk that overwhelmed it and sunk the ship.
Well, we talked about the penalties. Let's get to the defense here. 506 yards of total offense for the Giants. Woo. Great. Awesome. Then you go 3 inches to the right on the column on the stat sheet.
Yeah.
And you see the Cowboys had 478 yards of total offense.
Yeah.
Can't have that.
No.
And way too many big plays over the course of the game. I thought they did a pretty good job on Javonte Williams, but then he had a couple of big runs in the second half of this game in overtime that ended up really hurting the Giants. I thought...
His touchdown, by the way, was disgusting.
Oh, the one where he broke 3 tackles? Yeah, not good.
I mean, he got right through that initial wave, bounced off a couple guys, and then
Tyler Newman had a missed tackle in the open field on that particular play.
Waltz right into the end zone. That was brutal.
Yeah, and then look, I guess we could talk about the unit as a whole, and then we can focus on a couple specific moments late in the game. I thought the pass rush was good. I also thought, and we've talked about this so many times with the Giants being on the other end of it, that I think it's only appropriate we talk about it now. When you get a team into must-pass situations, like the Cowboys were at the end of this game, where they had to throw to keep up with the Giants' offense. Yeah, those words did come out of my mouth. That was what was going on in this game. And we've talked about trying to get other teams in these scenarios.
Right.
You want to see your fourth quarter pass rush close this game out?
They ran out of gas, John.
I think that's what it was.
Yeah.
I think that's what it was, and I will give Dallas credit for this too.
They ran out of gas.
I have never seen an edge rusher get chipped as consistently as Brian Burns did in this game. They had 2 guys on him on almost every play. And I looked at it. It was almost every single play. And when they didn't, Burns got pressure.
They were definitely, he was public enemy number 1.
Yes. They made Kayvon Thibodeau win one-on-one against Terrence Steele for much of this game. And I thought Kayvon did okay. Was he dominant?
Yes, he did.
No, but I thought he certainly got his fair share of pressures, and he got a sack, and he got after the quarterback. Dexter Lawrence, I thought, continued to improve. He was better this year than he was last week.
Yeah.
Was he an unblockable force? I wouldn't quite put it that way. Was he playing as well as he did when he was at his best last year or the year before? He probably wasn't quite there, but he impacted the game, and he did get pressure on the quarterback.
Over 60 snaps, right?
Yeah, and he had 6 pressures in the game, so it's not like he did not impact it.
He played well. He wasn't all universe Dexter, but he played well.
Abdul Carter did not get a sack, but you know who forced or helped force the interception to Drew Phillips? It was Abdul Carter.
It was.
Who was in Dak Prescott's face and knocked him down, had a quarterback hit, and that allowed, I'm sure that affected Prescott's throw, and then Drew Phillips made a really nice play in that interception. So the pressure, again, it was good. None of those guys played poorly, in my opinion.
No,
but
I agree.
They didn't close out the game in a dominant fashion at the end either. So that's how I'll kind of balance those two things at the same time. And then talk about that, and then when I get to the secondary.
The game was exhausting to watch. I can't even imagine what it was like to play, John.
Well, the Cowboys ran 89.
Yeah.
If you want to count the plays, including the ones that got called back for penalties, Cowboys offense ran 89 plays.
And threw it well over 50 times, right?
Dak had 51 pass attempts,
plus
52 pass attempts, and he had a couple of scrambles, and there were a couple of
scrambles.
So they probably had 56 or 57 dropbacks. Maybe with the penalties, it might even be closer to 60.
And so, I get down on the field now for road games with the 2-minute warning. Otherwise, I'm upstairs. So I get downstairs at the 2-minute warning, and of course, what happens in the last 2 minutes of the fourth quarter? It was insane.
Yeah.
But as I'm down on the sideline and I'm following the line of scrimmage on the sideline, I'm telling you, I'm looking at the Giants front line. These guys were like, wow. They were begging for oxygen. It was tough.
Now, I think
they were exhausted. I kept saying to myself, how are they supposed to? Dexter Lawrence at one point, I felt for him. They'd called a play, goes out of bounds. He had a minute to catch his breath. Now they're getting ready to line up for the next play, and you should have seen how slowly he bent over to put his hand on the ground. I was afraid he was going to just fall over and collapse. They were gassed, and yet they still were able to get the ball back in overtime twice.
Exactly right. Now, they were helped by a Jalen Tolbert drop that hit him right in the chest on an out route. Yeah. But look, the bottom line is, and then Elijah Garcia came in there and had a big sack in overtime.
Wow, how about that?
He marched, I think it was Terrence Steele right back into the quarterback, if I recall correctly. I think it was Terrence Steele.
The lineman.
But, yeah, I mean, look, I think that's just the fact that it's week 2 and these guys aren't in midseason form yet. Mm-hmm. Because if you look at the fourth quarter, it's not like the Cowboys had really long drives, right? I mean, their last drive to get that final field goal was just 3 plays, right? And then in overtime, they only had a couple, they had 4 or 5 plays on each one of those drives, and the Giants were on the field, but they just scored so quickly on a couple of those drives. So, but look, let's get to the secondary because I think that was the bigger story. First, I do want to tip my cap to Dak Prescott. I thought he played a great game.
His throws were terrific.
He completed a couple, that crosser to CeeDee Lamb against that double team. I stopped the film. There wasn't 6 inches of breathing space.
No.
He put the ball up and away, the only place you could put it to complete that pass. It was an unbelievable throw. And then 2 plays later, Dexter Lawrence, as I mentioned, had some pressures. He gets in there, puts Prescott on his rear end, and he threw that deep out to the left sideline right as he's getting hit. Unbelievable throw to hit CeeDee Lamb on that deep out. So first things first, I thought Prescott played really well.
The touchdown pass to Pickens when he did the left
on the out route. Not a lot of room
right there.
Either. Nah, it wasn't back up.
Debo was right there. And in fact, that was right in front of me. And I'm thinking as he's looking at him, it's like the ball's going to come right to me. And I'm thinking to myself, I wonder if he's going to stay in bounds because there's not a lot of room.
Right. And I know Giant fans in week 1 were upset because there was not a lot of pressure at the line, a lot of soft coverage and stuff like that. Giants played a lot of man in this game.
Yeah, they did.
They played a fair share of man. They played their fair share of cover 3 with single high safety deep. And look, the reason the Cowboys went out there and traded for George Pickens is so you would have 2 wide receivers that it would be very difficult to play man-to-man.
Mm-hmm.
And they actually did, I thought, Paul, for the most part, did what I suggested in the pregame show, which was they had shading a safety to CeeDee Lamb side to make sure he got help on that side. And they had a Debo, especially late in the game, on George Pickens a lot one-on-one.
Most of the game, actually.
And Pickens beat him on a couple of slants. He beat him on a couple of out routes. And then you had the deep crossing pattern. And again, It's going to be hard. It's hard to trail a guy all the way across the field on a crossing pattern on that final catch that Pickens had on the final Cowboys drive of the game.
Yep.
It's just going to be hard to trail that guy all the way across the field when you have a good receiver like Pickens.
I would never quantify Adebo's coverage as he got roasted on any of those plays.
No, he did not. He just got beat by good players.
And sometimes the other guys make a play.
And that's going to happen.
I know.
And again, it wasn't a situation where they were playing a bunch of soft zone and they were giving a ton of extra space and things like that. Good players just made good plays, and they happened to beat the Giants' defense. But I do want to get to the one play that I know has rankled Giant fans, and understandably so. Just really poor execution. Paul, at the end of regulation with 14 seconds to go.
Yeah.
Cowboys have a couple timeouts left. They're at their own 32-yard line, if I'm not mistaken. I'll bring up the exact situation.
33, because it's an 18-yard completion of Ferguson right in the middle of the star. It goes to the Giants' 49.
Yeah, so the Cowboys have it. No, that's overtime, sorry. So the Cowboys have it at the end of regulation after that unbelievable touchdown passing catch by Malik Neighbors with 33 seconds to go. Cowboys get the ball back. First and 10 at their own 33 with 19 seconds to go. Thibodeau puts really nice pressure on the quarterback, prevents what I think would have been a completion to George Pickens on the left side. He was open, but Thibodeau's pressure forces the incompletion. Really nice play. In fact, no, that was the double-cross mesh, and Pickens was wide open coming across the field. If Thibodeau doesn't get pressure, beat and steal on that play, Pickens can catch that ball and go. But he forces the incomplete pass. Really good pass rush by Thibodeau on that play. And then on 2nd and 10, with 14 seconds to go, the Cowboys can probably run 3 plays to try to get the ball in the field goal range.
At best.
Again, and they have to be quick throws in that situation. Maybe only 2. The Cowboys do have 3 timeouts left at that point. So they can stop the clock. They can use the middle of the field. And it's important to note who the Cowboys' kicker is, which changes this whole formula.
What did Dable say last week? He came right out and said it. They have a kicker. They only need to get to the 50-yard line. He came right out and said it.
He is a weapon.
They get to the 50, he can kick it.
The Giants players said that after the game.
Yep.
So they knew it.
They all knew it.
They knew the situation. Well, Brandon Aubrey from 65, while it's not automatic, a 65-yard kick for him is like a 52 or 53-yard kick for somebody else.
They've said in practice he's hit 70s.
He hit a 70, I think, in an
preseason
game last year.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah, I mean, you were watching that game, actually, if I remember.
Yes.
You were watching it
he's
here.
Legit. He's legit.
He's a great kicker. He's the best kicker in the league.
He's a robot. He's a machine.
And the Giants, understandably, are playing off coverage in that situation.
It's a deep umbrella.
The problem is, you want to play off coverage to the Dallas 40-yard line. I mean, to your own 40-yard line, to your own 45-yard line. The problem is that the Giants defenders drop back not just to midfield. They drop back beyond midfield to their own 45-yard line in some cases. And Ferguson just runs down the middle of the field, turns around on the star. Prescott throws another really good throw. He catches it, goes down. They run the ball once after that for 3 yards, and Aubrey drills a 64-yarder, which, by the way, would have been good from 70. That ball hits the net.
You know what, though? It was a bit of a knuckleball, and it was fluttering off to the right. I wonder if Williams did not get the last 4-yard run.
It hooked back at the end.
But I wonder when it went off to the right, if he had been back 4 more yards before the Williams run, I wonder if it might have hit the upright.
Maybe. Who knows?
I don't know either.
It's possible.
Because those last 4 yards I thought were also rather valuable.
My point, though, is that it had the distance.
No doubt.
And on that play, if you watch it, the 2 players in middle of the field responsibility were Dane Belton and Bobby Okereke.
Yeah.
And Bobby Okereke is on the, if you're looking from the offensive perspective, the left hash mark. Belton's kind of in the middle of the field. Draws back to throw. You have 3 wide receivers, including Ferguson, to the right of the formation. You have 1 wide receiver to the left of the formation. And Okereke's looking at the quarterback. Belton's dropping back. Okereke is either helping out on Pickens to the left, but he doesn't commit to there. And Ferguson just stops near the right hash mark. Okereke does not come over to get underneath the receiver. Belton keeps dropping back, allowing Ferguson to get leverage
to
in
the
front
Giants'
of him.
46, to your point about going back too far.
Now, I will say this.
He should never have backpedaled into Giants territory, in my opinion.
I agree. I don't know what, again, we're not in the meeting room. I don't know what the coverage assignment is there.
No.
one pass that we all know Dak Prescott loves to throw to Jake Ferguson is that seam ball where he puts it right over that middle defender, in between that middle defender and the safety.
And Okereke was not deep enough.
Well, my point is that I think maybe Belton was trying to stay on top of Ferguson to prevent him from getting behind him to get the ball over his head. If he's expecting Okereke to slide underneath him, that makes sense. You have him bracketed then, right? You have your one player in front, one player behind. The problem is that Okereke never comes over, and no one's underneath the tight end. So, again, you can put blame on both guys, and that's fine. And, again, we're not in the meeting room. I don't know the details.
Right.
But you can't simply let Ferguson run to a spot, turn around with zero resistance, and catch a pass like that. And by the way, they knew what the line was. They talked about it after the game, so it's hard for me to yell at the coaches for that because they knew the spot. That just looks like bad execution.
Ferguson goes right to the star. Prescott looks at him the whole way. He looks at him the whole way. You knew that's exactly what they were going to do. And the Giants' bracket was basically too wide.
Yeah,
is what it comes down to.
Way too wide, correct.
The bracket was too wide. Okereke not back enough. Belton not close enough. And just like the cream in the middle of an Oreo cookie, right? Ferguson finds that space between the two of them and just sits down and waits for the pass right there at the start.
Unfortunately, it was one of those. Have you had the Oreo mega stuff where the cream is like an inch thick?
Oh, the double stuff?
No, it's mega. It's bigger than double. It's like double the double stuff.
Like an ice cream sandwich.
And that's the problem though. That's how much space there was between the two cookies.
That's the problem. That's exactly the problem. They needed to crunch him, and they didn't do it.
You needed the slim Oreo.
There you go.
You got the mega Oreo.
So, John and I, we both have spent a lot of time looking at this play, and it looks to us, we could explain exactly what happened. Now, whether or not somebody didn't understand the play or somebody did something physically wrong, or who knows?
There's no way for us to know. We're not in the meeting.
Who knows? Same thing with the interception that Wilson threw at the end of the game.
Yeah.
Okay? Neighbors runs a bit of an out on the left sideline, and Wilson's throwing the ball down the seam.
And honestly, again, I don't know any better, and I will generally say, look, Russell Wilson's been in this league forever. I'm going to trust that he was doing the right thing. But it certainly looks like the cover two safeties inside, and Neighbors is trying to find the hole on the sideline between the safety and
receiver. And he finds room, by the way. Neighbors finds room.
There is a little bit of, now, I don't think there's enough room for to squeeze that pass in there, but he went to the open area, is my point.
He did.
It didn't look to me like Neighbors did anything wrong. But again, I'm not in the meeting room. I don't know what the sight adjusts are and stuff like that based on the coverage. So I hesitate to blame anyone individually to pass judgment. But again, a mistake.
Now on that play, because there's only one other play I really want to highlight, and then please finish.
No, I'm done. So you can highlight your plays, and then I'll get to the calls.
Now, unfortunately, Marcus Bowe is playing left tackle, and Bowe gets put on roller skates on that particular play, and he gets rolled right back into the face of Russell Wilson.
Sam Williams, I think,
Sam
54,
Williams.
Right? Yeah.
Williams rolls Bowe right back into Wilson's face. Wilson does not have time to resurvey the field or to make an adjustment on the throw, because I think if he had enough to see, and this is what we talked about with keeping his field of vision clean, Neighbors is on Wilson's left sideline. Where do you think the pressure came from? His left side. Wilson is the right defensive end. He gets into Wilson's face. Wilson can't see deep on that side of the field. The pressure gets right in his face within an instant. And Wilson, as he said, he tried to give Neighbors a chance to make a play. Well, he's throwing to the left seam, thinking that, okay, there's going to be a shot there. Well, that's because he can't see where Neighbors is at the end of the route, and he can't probably see where the safety was. And so he tries to make the play. It was as good as a punt, in all honesty, but it was a turnover, and obviously then with only 2 minutes to go, Dallas was in position to win the game. So either a miscommunication, but also combined with the pressure on the quarterback, and or maybe I don't know, maybe at some point during the call, maybe the call didn't get heard correctly too, because it got loud down there. It got real loud down there at the end of the game. So maybe Neighbors didn't hear the right call, and he wound up running a route that he thought was being called, and maybe he was supposed to run a seam route. And who knows? But This is the kind of stuff that happens. The other thing, John, that was just circumstantial, the fumble sack when the ball came out of Wilson's hands.
Yeah.
His arm's coming forward, but when he's following through and the ball comes out, with his follow-through, the ball winds up coming out and going behind him.
Well, he's trying to hold the throw because he's trying to throw to the left-hand side, and the Cowboys pass rusher jumps in the air. He's going to bat the pass.
And I think he might have been trying to tuck it.
Of course, yeah. He was trying to tuck it, and he turned his whole body.
And instead, so the ball goes backwards. Now they have to call it a fumble.
Yeah, it was the right call.
It was the right call. But now, if that ball slips out half a second earlier while it's up here, they're going to call it incomplete.
That's correct.
But because he's in the middle of that little turn, that little body turn, the ball goes backwards. I mean, holy smokes! You talk about fractions of an inch. That just it was tough to watch.
Oh, it's 40 to 37. Every fraction of an inch matters.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does.
That's the way the game goes. All right, there's a ton more to talk about this game, but I don't want to filibuster anymore here. I want to make sure to give you guys a chance to talk, and then we'll have another show tomorrow. We'll take plenty of your calls then as well. Let's go to line 2. Robin Yonkers will be first here, Johnny Mac. Robin, welcome back, Johnny Mac, for his honeymoon, by the way. Johnny Mac, welcome back. Rob, what's going on?
Good afternoon, guys. How are you doing?
Hello. Good.
Paul, I actually called you, and I said that I was going to call you guys back when we were 2-0 after we beat Dallas. That definitely did not happen.
Yeah, but you called us, though, Rob. You kept your word.
That says a lot.
Yeah. Honestly, guys, looking at these games, I still feel we should have been 2-0. And why I say that, everybody, where I feel right now, we should not be what our record is. I feel we should have beat Washington. I feel we should have beat Dallas.
Rob, in fairness, you can say you should have beat Dallas. Washington beat the Giants in Week 1.
The first game was a skunk by the Giants. They did not deserve to win that game.
That is correct.
All right, I have a couple of things. I have one question for you guys.
Yeah.
They said that in 1960-something, I wasn't born yet, but 1960-something, that the New York Giants played the Boston Yankees in Yankee Stadium. Who are the Boston Yankees, and is that team still around?
No, obviously that team is not around. And Rob, appreciate the call. Thanks so much. Paul, 67, Boston Yankees, you got anything?
I'm sorry, I really don't. Now, it's possible that might have been one of the Continental Football teams, which was a semi-pro league that was located in the northeast part of the country. And it's possible that the Giants played an exhibition game against them.
The Boston Yankees were a National Football League team based in Boston, Massachusetts that played from 1944 to 1948 and played its home games at Fenway Park.
Right, but he said 67. By then, it's possible that was a minor league team.
Maybe he misheard it and it was 47.
That could be too.
That's my bet.
I will just give you an example. There was a team called the Connecticut Bulls, and they moved. They were also called the Long Island Bulls. They were in something called, I think, like the Eastern Football Association. It was a minor league team, and they were affiliated with the Giants. And the Giants used to send some of their back-end roster players sometimes to that minor league team to play. The Giants did play them in like scrimmages and exhibitions every once in a while. That's not unheard of. It used to happen back in the day. When we're talking like late 60s, early 70s. So that also could be possible.
Let's go to Donnie in Queens. He's up next. Donnie, how's it going?
Well, here we go again.
Hey, Donnie, that was a very different game. That was not a here you go again game.
Not at all.
Totally disagree. It's another loss to a divisional opponent, another loss to the Dallas Cowboys. It's another 0-2 start.
No, that's all fair. That's all fair. But granularly, Donnie, this was a much different game than we've seen from this team.
They scored more points in this one than they have in prior games. It's the same old garbage. Last year, just like the Washington game. They could have won the Washington game, right? But they didn't. And what happens is these games stack. They're going to lose to the Chiefs on Sunday night. That team's not starting 0-3. Then the Chargers will come into town. Maybe they'll win that one. Maybe they'll win the Saints. Then they got 2 out of 3 against the Eagles. And this season is over. And it's because the Giants now have become the Browns, the Lions of the past, the Jets, where they lose because they don't know how to win anymore. It is now embedded inside the walls of that facility. It is different players. It is different coaches. It is different units. But each season, week to week, one player here, one player there, they all take their turns in finding ways to lose. And this will be the first year I don't go to a Giant opener in, I think, 16 years now, because it's not worth it anymore. And until this franchise figures out how to win games, these Sundays are nothing but a waste of time. And frankly, they should cut James Hudson today. They should cut Deonte Banks again with embarrassing tackling performances. I called you about this last year, John. They should have nipped it in the butt last year. They tried. It didn't work. Get these guys out of the building that aren't going to give full effort. I thought most of the guys played hard yesterday, but the team played stupid, particularly on the defensive side of the ball. And I'll tell you this, if Brian Daboll and Wink Martindale were adults, and they were able to act like adults instead of children and having a pissing contest 2 years ago, and Wink was still here, they would have won the game yesterday. So screw the Giants, man. I'm done with them.
All right, Donnie. I understand your frustration. It sucks. I get it. And look, you gotta, when you're a team that struggles, the good teams figure out a way to win their close games, and the teams that struggle figure out a way to lose their close games. And that is a pattern that you have to break. And the Giants broke that pattern in 2022. That's how they made the playoffs. They won a lot of those close games.
Yeah.
Since then, when they've been in a lot of these, and again, they haven't been enough close games. They've been down too big in some of these games. They had trouble winning some of these tight, close games at the end, Paul. And Donnie said a lot there, but that is something that you eventually do have to fix, because
no, you do.
The NFL is going to be mostly close games, and those are the close games you got to win if you're going to be successful.
There's only one philosophical way to look at this, and that is if you put all the emotion aside, you put all of the heartbreak aside, you put all of your frustration aside, you look at it and you go back to what you were planning for when the schedule came out, and that was 2-2 in the first 4 games. Well, guess what? You're now 0-2. You didn't get either of the division games. You now have to upset the Chiefs, although Kansas City is 0-2, and they are coming here. You have to pull that off, which is going to be a tall task. No one is going to dispute that. It's going to be a tall task. But if they should pull that off, all of a sudden, that's one of the big upsets of the month in the league. And then they got the Chargers coming in. And you know what?
Chargers play tonight. We have to see how they go.
Got to see how they go. I mean, Joe Burrow just got hurt in the Cincinnati game yesterday. Who knows? So why don't you just cool your jets a little bit and try to think back to the offseason when we said if you can split the first 4 games, that would be something that you could really chew on. Well, I hate to say this. It's a tall mountain. The Giants are in a hole, but they still can split the first 4 games. And if you get that, all of a sudden you can reevaluate.
And again, at 0-2, historically you have about a 12% chance of making the playoffs.
I get it.
It's tough. It's tough.
Believe me, I wanted the 2 division games. I remember my dad said to me after when the schedule came out, he laughed. He goes, boy, wouldn't it be something if they lost the first 2 games and then upset the Chiefs and the Chargers? I said, Dad, I'd like to be greedy. Can I get the first 2 division games?
Yeah.
Can I have those 2 games instead? Well, it's not going to happen
and
that
look,
way.
You can still get there. You just made it a lot harder.
Exactly. And that's the only way you can look at it. If you're the coaches and this team, you have to believe that the Chiefs are 0-2 and you're going to make them 0-3. You have to believe that.
Of course. Now, in terms of the 2 players you mentioned, James Hudson, you're not going to let him go. Offensive tackle depth in this league is way too shallow. But you know what James Hudson did to himself? And Howard Cross and Carl Banks always talk about this. Don't let the young guy on the field. Don't give him an opportunity. Well, guess what? Marcus Bull got on the field and he played well. So guess what? If Andrew Thomas isn't ready for the Chiefs game, I mean, Giants haven't said anything. I'd be surprised if Marcus Bowe's not the starter.
What does Howard like to say? You get Wally pipped?
Yeah. And that's what James Hudson did to himself by playing dumb football on that first drive of the game. And Paul, don't you agree? If Thomas can't go next week, and we'll see, he was doubtful again, I would, if you made me make a wager right now on it, I would say that Bo's the starter.
Oh, I think you have to. You have to get Marcus Bowe ready beginning in Wednesday's practice as the potential starter. You have to do that. Because even if you don't, can you trust that Hudson's going to do what he's supposed to do, even if you give him the start? Can you trust him after what he just did? That you won't have to pull him out again.
And then Banks, I was going to ask what play he was referring to, Donnie, specifically on that. I mean, there was one where he kind of cracked in on a run play, and I thought he could have done a little bit better of a job trying to make a tackle. But other than that, he actually made one really nice play in the hole on a run play in that game.
I thought Banks played pretty well yesterday, to be honest with you. What do you have, 6 tackles, 8 tackles?
Yeah, I mean, it depends where those tackles are.
No, I know.
I mean,
I understand that.
There was one play in the run game where I thought maybe you could have made a little bit more of an effort on a tackle, but other than that, I didn't have a huge issue with him necessarily.
And by the way,
in the game,
sensational game for Drew Phillips. I know he gave up a slant on a touchdown.
Well, and he also had that defensive pass interference penalty too. So he made some splash plays, but he had some bad moments too.
As I said to him after the game, every game, it's football. You're going to have some good and bad. It's very hard to throw a complete shutout unless you're Deion Sanders, right? He made a lot of really good plays yesterday, including 2 third-down stops in overtime that forced Dallas to punt the ball twice.
Yeah, he tackled well. He had that open field tackle on Cavante Turpin, too, on that one short pass, too.
Terrific. And that's not easy to do.
No, it's not. No, I thought Drew Phillips, all in all, played a good game, but he did have some plays in there that I'm sure he would want back today.
No question. No question. He had to, like you said, he had a pick. He was my defensive MVP of the game for the Giants.
By the way, and they didn't really show it early enough. When they showed the replay, are you sure he had control of that ball when it rolled on the ground?
It was right in front of me. It was right in front of me.
I don't care what you saw full speed when you looked at the replay.
I didn't see the replay until I looked at it this morning. And when I looked at it this morning, I was like, I think he had it.
Try to find the TV copy of it. Because they didn't actually show the replay until after it all got finalized and everything. And I'm like, I think he got it, but I thought the ball might have rolled on the ground a little bit. But either way, it was a heck of a pick. It was a great play.
I don't think there was a question on the All-22.
Well, I mean, you can't
no, because they're not zooming in.
No, you can't see it well enough.
Yeah,
on the
I did not look at the TV copy. I just looked at the coach's.
Yeah, the only way you're going to be able to see that is by looking at the TV copy on it. It's the only way. All right, let's go to Coach Marvin in Delaware. He's up next. Hi, Coach.
How you guys doing?
Hey, Coach.
Hi, Coach.
Hey. It was a good game. Y'all talking about that interception on Phillips. It was a good interception. It looked incomplete when I saw it. It touched the ground. The nose of the ball touched the ground, but he never lost control of the ball. It didn't move.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if he had full control of it when it hit the ground, Coach. That's what I'm saying. But again, I think that's one of those deals. It was bang, bang, and whatever I called on the field was going to stand.
Yeah, certainly they could not return it.
Yeah, but it was on the instant replay. They showed it, and because I thought it was incomplete because it touched the ground, because the nose of the ball did touch the ground. It's like he trapped it on the ground.
Right.
But the ball never moved.
It never moved. I got you.
I think that's why they couldn't overturn it.
Again, I only saw the replay once, and I think they only showed the replay once. So I did not get a great look at it.
Yeah, they only showed it once. I know it's a tough game to watch. I heard the fans. That fan ain't going nowhere. He's so miserable. Why is he calling the show and talking about it? If you're not going to watch the Giants, I mean, that's your preference, but you're not going. I'm telling you, you ain't going anywhere.
Oh, no, but Coach, look, I completely get where Donnie is coming from. The Giants, and I didn't go back and count. I'm not going to. They've started 0-2 far too much since 2013. So that's 13 seasons. They've started 0-2 way too many times.
3 times in a row.
Correct.
That's all you have to really do.
Yeah, I do, but it's still. I still have to say it, John. It's just you're not going anywhere.
I got you.
I understand the frustration, but you're not jumping off a building here.
What do you have on the game, Coach?
My thing is everybody played well. I think Marcus Bowe deserved a lot of credit. You guys were talking about him, the interception in overtime. I would have liked to seen Russell pull that back and step to his left away from Marcus Bowe because it was clear area that he can get into, maybe run the ball or find a guy open then. But it looked like it was almost like Paul said. He couldn't see him because he was in his face. But I would have liked to seen him pull that ball down. The guys, I thought they played well. The offensive line, I thought played well. Russell played out of his mind. The receivers, outstanding. I think they fooled the Cowboys, because when the last time we seen the Giants stretch the field that way? So if you game planning, you can only game plan, as I used to tell the players, it's what that coach taught them. He didn't see us practice. He didn't know what we do. So I got to show them something he showed them
And then the next time when we run some plays, I'm going to show them something their coach never told them was coming.
Yeah,
just
Coach.
To get their eyes.
I want to give credit to Russell Wilson, too. Rewatching this, the Cowboys, again, I think they played one rep of man the whole game. They were in zone for most of this game. But they were shifting post-snap from too high to single high, from single high to too high. Mm-hmm. And I think that's the value of a guy like Russell Wilson that's seen everything so much. You're not going to fool him with that type of stuff. Like if you have a rookie quarterback in the backfield and you got people switching, single high, dual safety alignments, post-snap, and rotating into different coverages, that might confuse a younger quarterback, but Russ knew exactly what the Cowboys were doing on every play.
And this is part of the reason why Russell Wilson, in addition to his performance, it's part of the reason why he is the starter and is for the foreseeable future. Because he gives this team the best chance to win.
Yeah, I think this is probably going to quiet that noise down a little bit.
I mean, look at what he did.
It will quiet. Yeah, he deserves to be playing, and I think it's best for Dart because the season is about building Dart. It's not to throw him in there and then he's going to fail. You're trying to build a quarterback, and I'm with them when they do that. But some of the stuff that happened, the penalties was bad. It was a lot of we didn't play with discipline in this game, and that's what cost us in this game.
Yeah.
I thought we didn't play in some certain situational football on the defensive side. If I go back to the after we scored with 25 seconds, I mean, I'm jumping through the roof after that touchdown by Neighbors. I thought the defense played a little too soft. I thought my thinking you had to be creative in a sense like a Spag. And I thought Spags wouldn't sit. He wouldn't send an all up. Well, sometimes he did do a zero blitz, and you're in that situation because he's not going to give you a chance to wait for the receivers to get down.
Coach, I don't mind playing an umbrella coverage here. You just got to play it 15 yards closer to the line of scrimmage.
Yes, right. I don't either. That's why I said it was a little soft because the corners. One of them was 12 yards back, and the other one was about 10 yards back.
You know what, Coach?
The safeties were deep.
Yeah, the problem is we don't know what the instruction was, right? We're not in the huddle, so we don't know exactly what the call was. We can tell by the formation they were in a shell. It was a deep shell. There's no doubt about that. But, yes, we can all sit here and say we would like to have had them tighten that up a bit, but we don't know if that was on them or if that was on the call or what exactly was going on. That's the ambiguous part of this whole thing.
Yeah, the players could have missed their marks on their drops.
They could have.
Who knows?
But I feel that it wasn't much of a – I can't feel that way because of how it was played, because they wasn't really running anything. They just run 9 routes, right straight down the middle of the field. It wasn't like they was running crossing routes. So they're playing back. Yes, what they were doing is saying, we're not letting you get behind us. They were playing it like we were up 7 rather than up 3. And that's the way I saw it.
No, Coach, you aren't wrong about that.
That's fair. That's fair.
So I played it like you. And if you look at the linebackers, they're back there too. Yep. They're not on the line. They're not up close. So my thing was, if you can bring them a little closer and then we can run with them and not let them behind us, now we got a contested throw. And I just thought that we played a little too soft because it was easy.
Oh, no, Coach. No, Coach, we do not disagree with you. And Coach, appreciate the call. I want to make sure we get to the rest of the calls.
The only slight disagreement I have is that Bobby Okereke's drop was not deep enough. Actually, if he had played any closer to the line, it wouldn't have done any good.
Well, I mean,
because it turned out he was too far up.
Well, it wasn't that he was too far up. He was just on the wrong hash. He was to the side.
Yeah, but if he had been deeper, he would have been able to deflect that ball. He would have been able to cut in front of it.
No.
I think
too far to the side. It wasn't depth. It was.
Oh, I think had he had more depth, I think he could have made a play.
I don't think it was a depth problem, Paul. I'll tell you, go back and I will bring it up again.
We can look at it again.
I'll bring it up again. I do not think that was a depth problem. I think it was more of a hanging out on the wrong hash mark problem without identifying a receiver.
He was probably 3 or 4 steps more to the right than he should have been, in my opinion.
And I think
if I had my choice.
And I think that's why he didn't get there.
I would like to have seen him be a little deeper. Let's just put it that way. When we talked about the Oreo cookie before, that was the problem. I thought is that, you're right. I do think he was off a little bit, but I would love to have had him deeper. But anyway.
All right, let's go to Steve in Long Island. Steve, what's going on?
Hey, Paul. Hey, John. How you doing?
Hello.
Very good, Steve. What's up?
Another hangover of a Monday.
Yeah.
But anyway, I just wanted some positives from the game. I thought Scotty played great, ran
Yeah.
hard.
Yeah, he did. He did have one
Marcus-
drop. I did count the Giants for 4 drops. 3 of them would have been first down conversions. Scatterboo had one of them. I'm sorry to say.
Scatterboo had one. Tracy had one. Did you give Neighbors a drop on the slant?
Neighbors had one.
Oh no, the one by the sideline, right?
I gave Neighbors one, and I believe I gave Robinson one, if I'm not mistaken. I have to look it
but
up.
he ran hard. I love the way he ran the ball. Anyway, he played. I thought he played good, and Bo, I thought played great too. I mean, two rookies right there. I like that. Russell played out of his mind. I thought he played a great game. Too bad I'm only going to remember the interception. But I'm just tired of the losing. I'm just 16 out of 19 games losses. It's just brutal, man. I'm a diehard. I'm never going to jump off. I go to one game a year. That's all I can afford. But I love going to the games. The Giants. I'm 49 years old. I remember with the first Super Bowl and everything. But I'm just tired of the frustration. One point I just have to make is you got Daniel Jones, Tyrod Taylor, Drew Lock, and now Russell Wilson, Tommy DeVito. Whoever you put back there doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
The one constant is Dable. And I thought, everybody says he's a great coach, and he may very well maybe. But the end is the results, and what's the results? We keep losing.
Yeah. No, look, you're not wrong.
Something.
No, look, Steve.
And that's the frustration.
No, Steve, look, appreciate the call. I totally get where you're coming from, and yeah, we can get into the granularity of who played well, who didn't. It was better than this and it was better than that. The bottom line is that you walked out of the building with a loss again. And they still have not beaten Dak Prescott since 2016. They've still not won in Dallas since 2016. And the wheel continues to spin.
Yeah, it's
not good enough.
You know what stinks? What stinks is we have to go back and we have to look at a play that did not go well. And like John and I are talking about, well, was he a little deep enough, or was he a little bit over, or was there an angle he could have maybe have made to reach and deflect the ball? You know what? When you lose a game, this is the kind of minutia you do, because it just ticks you off to no end that, you know what? If he was just a little bit there, the play is made, you win the game. And you know what? Then nobody's even talking about it. We're not even going back to review the play. Well, I do it anyway, and John would have anyway, but we wouldn't be talking about it. But you got to talk about it, and you got to turn your stomach upside down because the team lost. Stinks. Flat out stinks. And trust me, on the sideline, on the line of scrimmage, during the final 2 minutes of that game, and then watching it in overtime, trust me. You ever seen that mouse who's like running a wheel?
Hamster, you mean?
The hamster, not the mouse, the hamster. That's the way my stomach was the whole end of that game.
I think all of us were. I mean, I was standing up in the studio watching the game next to Tiki.
How about that?
Jittery. I was standing.
There you go.
I mean, look, the NFL is a game where what separates two teams usually isn't a ton. Now, you get certain games where there are big mismatches and stuff, and one team plays well, the other team doesn't, it's a blowout. But for the most part, you're going to have games where 1 or 2 or 3 really big plays, and whether or not your player makes the play or the other team's player makes the play is going to decide who wins and loses the game. And in this particular game, the Cowboys made 1 or 2 more plays more than the Giants did, which allowed them to come out with a victory.
You know what's funny? Plays of 20 yards or more, Giants had 8.
8 of 24 yards or more.
By 4 different players.
It's crazy.
Cowboys had 5 plays of 20 yards or more. Who would have thunk that, right? That the Giants would have more big plays than Dallas did.
Well, I mean, going into the game, we talked about in the pregame, the Dallas secondary was a mess. Kyrie Elam got murdered.
Thought they were primed for it.
Trayvon Diggs does not run like he used to.
Not at all.
And Deron Bland's not there.
Nope.
So that secondary for Dallas is going to be a problem. I didn't think Donovan Wilson played particularly well in coverage either.
And yet, they knew that going in, so they played zone now in 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah, it didn't work, though. You still got 8 plays of 24 yards or more.
And as deep as they were playing and as much zone as they were playing, the Giants actually attacked them. And like you said earlier, that's something we're not used to seeing the Giants do.
In the past, the Giants would have seen that type of coverage and just kept checking it down.
Exactly.
But Russell Wilson attacked it instead.
Exactly.
Which was the difference.
That
Unfortunately,
huge difference.
You give up 40 points, so
I know.
it's not enough. Mike in Utica. Hi, Mike.
How's it going, guys?
What's up?
A couple points I wanted to make. I'm not going to dwell too much, but I am somewhat more similar to the first callers. That just the losing is just horrible for a guy like me. I've been a fan since the '80s. It's so tough to take. This organization is too great to be going through year after year after year like this. It's just truly horrible. I hope so we've got to break through at some point. I hope we can turn it around. It's just depressing. This is a great organization. We shouldn't be losing like this all the time. A couple quick points about the game I wanted to see if you guys also picked up on. That as far as the penalties, the officiating, all the penalties against us, totally undisciplined. But you know what? And I know you guys already said that a lot of those penalties were the right calls. Don't lead that to make you think that the referees were excellent in this game. They were not. I don't know if you guys noticed, but that Pickens will, and he did this at least on 2 or 3 of his catches, subtly pushed off the corner on at least 3 of his catches.
Well, they got him for one.
Begging for offensive pass.
They got him for one. They did.
They got one.
They got
one.
one.
Probably the least egregious push-off of all the times Pickens pushed off. It was almost like a makeup call.
Michael Irvin did that his whole career.
Yeah, honestly, and look, the Cowboys got flagged 12 times for 106 yards. They didn't play a clean game either.
No. I mean, between the two of them, 24 penalties.
I felt like Dallas had a holding penalty on every single one of their kick returns. On every single one. It was unbelievable.
Yeah. I mean, look.
A couple other things. I think Okereke played better. He's actually leading the league in tackles right now. Malik Neighbors is leading the league in receiving. Russell Wilson's leading the league in passing. I was pretty sure mostly everyone said before the season that if the Giants are going to be competitive this year, the defense is going to have to keep us in games. Well, it seems like it's working out the exact opposite. But it's nice to see Okereke kind of rounding back into form. I thought Dexter was a little bit better yesterday.
He was.
Rusty week 1.
Absolutely.
He was a little bit better yesterday. And then the last thing I want to talk about is James Hudson. There's over 300 offensive linemen in the NFL. And I know, we can't trust a word Pro Football Focus says, but they ranked James Hudson dead last amongst all offensive linemen last year. What exactly did Joe Shane think he was getting signing James Hudson? It's tough to believe. He sabotaged the first drive, and I don't know. I don't know. I mean, Shane, he's been bad. He's been bad, guys. He blew the entire 2023 draft. Most of his free agent signings have not panned out. He's been bad, guys, and I'll take the answer off the air. Thank you, though.
Thank you, Mike. I don't know what the question was. I think that was more of a statement. But
yeah,
that's your opinion. I don't think that's necessarily fair. I think that Jermaine Illuminor has been a tremendous free agent signing.
Mm-hmm.
He's been great. Other guys haven't been as effective. I get that. Some draft picks have been good and some draft picks haven't. That happens. But, look, we are where we are, and the Giants are 0-2, and they now need to win Week 3 against Kansas City because
that's it.
I'll give it next week. I'm not going to give it yet. I don't want to depress people, but your chances of making the playoffs if you start 0-3, infinitesimal.
Yeah.
So
no, that's true. That's true.
Yeah, you have to win this week.
They need to shock the world because the world is not going to give them a chance against the Chiefs.
No, especially now with the Chiefs at 0-2.
No. So they'll need to shock the world. And if they do, I hope everybody calls up on Monday and has a really good time.
Well, we'll see. I haven't seen what the folks out west have given in terms of the what that number will look like. But the Chiefs have not played well, so their offense does not look right. Their defense is still good with Spags, but we'll see how that goes. Let's go to Len in Columbia, Maryland. He will wrap us up today. Hi, Len.
Hey, guys. Well, frustrating.
Yep.
Tough loss.
Yep.
Yeah, I was standing up for the whole fourth quarter in front of my TV. trying to figure out what they should do next. But you know what, guys? Look, I thought there was improvement yesterday from every unit. Can it get better? Yeah, it can.
Sure.
But I think that's where
Especially
we are.
defensively.
Look, you guys know there's a lot of losses coming, guys. There's a lot of losses coming. I'm the original. We're a year away from being a year away from the playoffs. We saw some positive things yesterday. I liked the way they played. Were there some mistakes? Do we need better line blocking, offensive line blocking? Do you think the running backs left anything on the field yesterday, Paul?
I thought the running game was sporadic. I would like to have seen it more consistent. I would like to have seen them do better with it. However, with the passing game doing so well, John, I can't fault them. And I've said this before. I don't want Russell Wilson throwing the ball 37 times or whatever it is a game. But
I don't think there was a ton of space in the running game that the running backs didn't
No,
get.
I thought it was okay. And in spots, they did what they had to do. But Wilson was having so much success of slicing up their defense with the pass. I'll be frank with you. I did not have trouble when the game was over saying, well, they should have run the ball a whole lot more or a whole lot better.
Running backs in the game had 17 carries for 64 yards.
I mean, Wilson was doing it. How can you argue with that success?
Yeah. All right. I'll take that. What did you think about the run blocking?
It was all right.
Thank you.
It was all right. Want it to be better. Yep, it was all right.
Get better. It's got to get a little better.
Sure it does.
Sure, we agree with you.
I thought the pass blocking was okay.
No, pass blocking was good. Pass pro in this game for the most part was good.
I thought, just to use my here, you guys may have a different word. I thought the run game was abysmal. The blocking was terrible. Maybe it's not next week, maybe it's not the week after that or the week after that, but we got to start thinking about. I mean, if Van Roten is going to run block like this, you got to look to make a change. You got to look to make a change. Maybe not Sunday.
I wasn't sure Van Roten was the biggest culprit in this game necessarily, to be honest with you, but I hear what you're saying.
They did run for 6 first downs, Lynn.
Hudson, who was
Runyon, I thought, had some issues getting pushed into the backfield on a few plays in the game.
Yeah.
And the one sack he gave up wasn't too good either on the clock side.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's just the run blocking is
again,
it's not there. The pass blocking. I think we got a guy in Bo. Look, I hope the young man is okay, but you can't put him on the field on Sunday. You can't put Hudson out there. It has to be Bo.
No, we agree.
It has to be Bo.
I think we're with you on that.
Yeah. But let's make something clear, Lane. For all that we have done to beat up the offensive line, deservedly so, for a long time, the offensive line was far, far from being a culprit in yesterday's game.
Correct.
And that's the point. So if you want to be down on them and you want to keep kicking away, be my guest. I'm not going to listen to it.
Cowboys had 2 sacks. The Giants threw it, dropped back to pass over 40 times and threw for 400 yards.
I mean, come on. You know the list of culprits here, and those guys are not near the top.
Yeah. It's the run blocking that disturbs me.
No, but Len, I hear you, but they stopped.
I mean, you think back to we thought Barkley was cooked. Maybe it was the offensive line and not Barkley. I mean, these running backs.
We knew that was the case then.
Scatterbo is going to be a guy to watch. Glad he's on our team. I'm glad he's getting some plays. He's not a full-time guy. He's not, and the chances of him getting banged up is going to be, it's going to be pretty clear. You begin to wonder whether these running backs are pedestrian in nature. I mean, we can't run the ball. I mean, it's along the offensive line. Look, let me go back to Hudson for a second.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised at this performance. All you need in the first quarter yesterday. Let me talk about another first quarter. You can check back and tell me if I'm wrong. The first preseason game against Buffalo, the first drive was just like our first drive yesterday. We ran 18 plays and gained 60 yards. And Hudson was called for 3 or 4 penalties.
Yes, he was.
On that
back-to-back penalties on that drive,
now,
too.
You want to tell me it's preseason? It's okay. Let's find out if this guy is okay first. All right. and take that sideline tirade was, I mean, you wonder. I hope the kid's okay. All right, but listen, he is pedestrian as possible. He's a third tackle. We call him a swing. I'm not a film guy like you guys are. I'm not even close. But I try to watch 12 to 15 plays of everybody they bring in, if I can find it.
Sure.
If I can find it. Look, he's better at left tackle than he is at right. He's better at left than he is at right, believe it or not. He can't run block. He's inconsistent. I don't know what – I think what Joe saw, what Shane saw, to answer the other caller, guys, I think he saw Hudson's tenacity.
Yeah, I think that was part of it.
The intangibles were definitely
him
part
in the
of
butt yesterday.
No.
So, I mean, listen, we got to have takeaways. Everybody in the defensive backfield yesterday played an okay game. I thought the safeties played better. If Ferguson was in single coverage on Ferguson, that's not the right call, guys. I've been saying this for 3 years. Believe me, I like Belton. I'm glad he's on this team. But if you're playing three safeties, Belton's okay. If you put Belton in man coverage, you're going to get beat. You're going to get beat. He's not a man coverage guy.
Make your final point in the game, Len. We got to run.
Team. Were they in three deep yesterday on that play to Ferguson? Do you know, John?
Wait, you mean the one at the end of the game?
The one at the end of the game.
No, I think it was quarters.
They were in a shell.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
It was zone coverage on that last play.
Okay.
All right, Len. Be good.
Let me just say one more thing.
Real quick.
The beat's got to ask this guy. I got to ask Dable. What was he thinking after the Phillips interception?
No, they asked him why he went for it there.
I mean, we're on the road. It's the start of the second half. We got a big play out of Phillips. We got great field position. We move the ball down the field. You stop the Cowboys on their first drive of the second half. Take the points. Take the points. Somebody's got to ask him about that. A few plays later, when we were down there again, he kicked.
All right, Len,
the second time and not the first time.
We got to go because Coach is about to talk, and he's going to have his presser, and we got to get to the presser. All right, we got to go, Len. Be well. I just do want to mention, for his career, James Hudson, for his penalties, just so we're aware, to put it in perspective, coming into this season, he had played 49 games and been called for 14 penalties, 7 false starts, and 2 holds. So he has not necessarily been a penalty magnet during his career, just for perspective.
Yeah, and I think my initial reaction was kick the field goal there. I don't know what you thought watching the game live there.
I felt that way, but then I also understood where he was coming from.
I totally understood. And then, by the way, they called the play, and Scatterbo has the ball in his hands. He's got to catch it.
He dropped it.
So you should have had the first down.
First and goal.
So I can't get upset about that.
First and goal. They called the right play.
And it should have been caught.
Yep. Totally agree.
All right.
We got Coach.
Folks, we got to go do Coach. That's Big Blue Kickoff Live, presented by Cadillac, the official luxury vehicle of the Giants, in the Hackensack Community Health Podcast Studio. Keep getting better. For Paul Dottino, I'm John Schmeelk. Go check out the John Settle Podcast. We have a rapid reaction up there. We're going to do Brian Boldingle later on today for the first time this year. Make sure you go check that out. That'll be up either this afternoon or tomorrow morning. And then we'll have our normal fare through the rest of the week. We'll talk to you tomorrow. It'll be, I think, Lance and Howard Cross on Big Blue Kickoff Live tomorrow. Go check it out.